the seat next to me is empty. And that's because Master Sesfazian joins us live from Los Angeles. Come on, Master.
Come on.
Master,
I'm excited.
The wait,
Go ahead, man.
Guys, is officially over. It's finally match day. It's been exactly 1,271 days since Lionel Messi and Argentina lifted the trophy in Lusail, and the greatest show on earth is back and bigger than ever before. We've got a huge show today. Not only have we got Master in Los Angeles, Ben Jacobs will be joining us from out there as well. Loads to talk about the USMNT and the action on the ground. He'll also give us the latest on the Elliot Anderson transfer, on some managerial moves going on as well right now. Angelina Kelly, our very own, will join me here in the studio in London. We'll review last night's England win over Costa Rica, reflect on what it means for their opening game against Croatia next week, and they've been Masters pick from weeks ago, and yet somehow everyone's suddenly getting on the Portuguese train. The brilliant Tom Kunda is going to join the show and tell us why they deserve to be amongst the favourites for this tournament.
Obrigado.
All that, plus just chill. Relax, guys, right? Are we all chilling and relaxing after Infantino told us to? I think probably not. This is the S Word from talkSPORT, sponsored by Kalshi. Trade. What's next? Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear. Oh, I was going to give it some... Hold on.
Uh-oh.
The tiny sombrero is out.
Orale.
I don't know why everything's tiny. Why did you order these for my children?
Hey,
I got some tiny maracas.
Come on.
Some bling in the form of a taco. I am ready to go because the Mexican World Cup portion, at least, is about to get underway today. And Master, I don't know about you, I am so hyped for the football to finally be here.
It is finally here, and what better country to start this thing off than Mexico? The vibes are going to be incredible all throughout Stadium Azteca, but also here in LA. I think so many people are going to take work off. The match is going to start, I think, 12 o'clock here on the West Coast. And there is a huge party planned in South Central LA, which is where I'll be at BMO Stadium, where LAFC play, and then right across the street, the Coliseum, which is obviously where the USC football team plays. And the official FIFA fan watch party is going to be at the Coliseum. And then across the street, BMO, there's going to be a crazy Peso Pluma concert. Adidas is doing a huge blow up. That is going to be bananas. And so not only just that, downtown LA, East LA, it is going to be insane. There's no place I'd rather be to watch this right now than LA. But well, I kind of wish I was in New York right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, the thing is, yeah, exactly that, because a lot of our team are already out in New York from talkSPORT, right? Emma Smith, who's our World Cup editor, doing an absolutely sensational job setting up all the brilliant stuff you're seeing from talkSPORT. A lot of our great guests she's sorted out and getting them here. She was in New York last night, just ahead of the tournament starting, ahead of White and Jordan starting doing their show out there, getting everything prepared and ready. And she got to go to a street party where they were projecting Game 4 onto a big wall in the middle of Brooklyn, and it looked absolutely insane.
Bing bong.
I mean,
Bing bong.
I do want. I mean, Gabs. The question is, do we have? My mayor is Muslim, my bagel's still Jewish, the Pope's on our side, Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5.
Because what? I know we're a soccer show, I know we're a football show, but talk to me about being in the US last night. I woke up at 3 a.m. and watched basically from when they were 24 points down till the end of the fourth quarter. I'm tired now, but it was worth every moment. What a comeback, Master.
I commend you for getting up, because when it was down 20, I think around that time, obviously they were down 29 in the third, but being down 20 in the fourth, to be up and watch that and still fulfill the idea that you had to watch that game. You saw, in my opinion, the greatest basketball game of all time. Truly.
What's funny is, another member of our team out there, Keelan, he's in KC with the England side. He was messaging me from a sports bar last night, and when I woke up and I saw just how big the result was, and I started messaging with him, I'm like, where's the Man City bottle guy? The Knicks are going to blow this whole thing. They're going to go from a 2-0 lead to absolutely losing this series 4-2. This is a disgrace. They've been dreadful. I was almost up hate watching it at that point. Is there a football comparison? Can you think of literally there was one lead change in this game. In basketball, the lead changes back and forth all the time, and yet one lead change that came in the final 8 seconds of the game. It's the greatest comeback in playoff history. Can you think of a footballing equivalent of this at all?
I mean, a lot of them are gonna turn to Champions League. Obviously, Istanbul, Liverpool coming back. I think that's immediately what comes to mind. The remontada, PSG being up I think it was 6-1, wasn't it? Against Barcelona. I'm thinking about that one. I'm thinking about Liverpool coming back against PSG. That 4-0 game in the second leg. So many of these kind of sprung to mind when I was thinking about this. But
honestly,
to be down 29 in the NBA Finals, I don't know, man. It's hard to find a true equivalent for this. It is truly unprecedented.
Istanbul came to me, and I thought about it, and I was like, the problem with Istanbul is, it's like they were 4-0 down and won it in normal time. This isn't like they got back to 3-3 and then held off and went to extra time and penalties and everything else. Like, to go and win it in regulation was astonishing. And you had some unbelievable moments. And I was thinking of football comparisons to the big moments, particularly, Jalen Brunson's big three from the outside to get that touch in. Is that like a tap in when it's been like parried off the keeper? And more importantly, what is Fox doing? Like, take that to the corner. Do the football equivalent of taking it to the corner. If he draws the foul, they win that game. If he runs the clock out, they win that game. And yet he goes for the shot. And honestly, it made me think Noni Madueke plays for the San Antonio Spurs.
Oh my God! There you go again. What is your thing about Noni Madueke? What is the English thing about Noni Madueke? I will say this again. The very English thing is to try and blame the last play, which Americans do that as well because De'Aaron Fox is receiving a lot of guilt. But the mentality of the Spurs, they were shooting so well historically. I think they tied the most 3s in a half in NBA Finals history. In the third quarter, they were treating this like a pickup game and just chunking up 3s left and right, getting offensive rebounds, and like they had one possession where they were shot like I think 5 3s and just clanked them all, including Wemby. So in terms of mentality monsters, the youth and the inexperience was clearly shown there, and obviously the Knicks took advantage of it, and the crowd did too. And look, I'm not here for the Knicks propaganda, really. In fact, I do enjoy trolling the Knicks, but there is something special and something beautiful about coming back to America and seeing a 29-point comeback and just reminding myself who exactly we are, man.
So,
and again, I'm kind of blending myself in with New York here because I know New York's going to make this about New York, but man, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in sports.
My problem is, it was a wonderful moment. And yesterday, Flex and I, when you were travelling out to LA, we did our top 5 World Cup memories. So rather than top moments, the moments that we remembered, that visceral to us, right? And it felt like that. It was unbelievable. My reaction when he tips that shot in is jaw on the floor, like unbelievable. I almost started screaming, forgetting I've got children and a wife in the house. I was ready to run around, hair on fire. Like, it was unbelievable. And yet, like, I see Adam Schefter tweeting today saying that's going to be replayed for decades to come. It's one of the great all-time moments. And this is, for me, why football, will always be the king. And it's to an extent, why NFL's my favourite American sport, why that will always be the king, is that it's still Game 4. Is that the Spurs could have a miraculous comeback, at which point we'll look back at it and go, it was an amazing moment. What a great moment for the city. But they still blew it. They still bottled it. Like, it's that. That's the only thing that holds me back a little bit. It just holds me back a little bit. It's not Malcolm Butler intercepting at the 1 yard line.
Enjoy the moment. Let yourself enjoy the moment.
It's not Sergio Aguero. It's never going to be that, just because that was the thing that won the whole thing. This was the thing that put them in the place to win the whole thing. This is like winning a semi-final on a last-minute goal, not actually winning the final.
This is the NBA. You got Taylor Swift on the sideline, jumping up and down. You got Tracy Morgan. You got Spike Lee. You got Ben Stiller. You have every single person you could possibly think of going absolutely berserk. Ben Stiller, he looked like an absolute child in the greatest way possible with the joy he was able to just express himself with, because they thought they were literally going back to San Antonio down 2-2. I will not, I love to knock Knicks fans. Don't get me wrong. It is an absolute pride and joy I've had all of my life reminding them they have never won a title in their life like I do with England fans. But this is their time. This is their moment. They've been on an incredible run, historic run, an impressive winning streak. They lose one game. They go down 29 points. They bounce back. They fight back. The crowd is the big reason why they were able to will themselves over. For all those English fans that say American sports have no culture, have no crowd, have no atmosphere, point to MSG, and I tell you, name a better environment, name a better atmosphere where the Wu-Tang Clan is performing at halftime and changes the entire dynamic of this game. Truly, you can wax poetically all you want to about this game.
I agree with you
and
on
I'm
all
all for
of that.
it. They deserve all of the praise.
But imagine it was game 5. Imagine it was game 7. Imagine it was just like
I live in reality.
That little thing,
and I'm going into
it's like 95% amazing.
It is 1,000% amazing. 1,000% amazing. This is the greatest thing one of the greatest things I've ever seen in sports. And I'm on this high. If anything, we are very fortunate that the U.S. is not the opening match, because this
we might never see Master again. If tonight you were headed to SoFi Stadium to watch the USMNT open up, but instead you get to watch the USMNT open up on Friday night, followed by Game 5 on Saturday night where the Knicks might seal it. I mean, that's pretty cool.
But America needs like a breather after that. It's
like a day off.
Like my point is that like, it's a good thing the U.S. is not playing today, because it would be completely overshadowed by what the Knicks did last night. So thank God. Shout out to our amigos down south in Mexico, because we know they're going to bring the passion. We know they're going to be able to kick off this World Cup as properly as it should be, because it's going to be the greatest and biggest World Cup of all time. And Mexican fans will bring the passion, will bring the energy, and they'll start this thing off right today.
Patio Joe gets in touch with us on socials, regular on the show at this point. He said, love that you're in LA, loves that you're down there. He said, it's got to be City, 15 minutes left, final day of the season. Like, that's the best comparison. I think that's a pretty incredible comparison. Aguero will live forever, and yeah, you kind of hope this moment for the Knicks will live forever. Bing bang. If they win on Saturday, this moment last night lives forever, just like Aguero did. If they lose 3 in a row,
they will not lose 3 in a row. This one is over in 5, at most in 6.
All right. Let's turn our attention. Look, we're going to talk England a bit later in the show. I've made a Noni Madueke jibe there, and we will talk about that with Angelina Kelly.
One of many.
In the studio. Yeah, the WhatsApp was popping off last night. Let's just say that. But in the meantime,
I had to defend my boy.
You and I haven't done a show together in a few days. You were in here with Ollie Kling a couple of days ago, then you were travelling, and I did the show with Flex. Both of us have had our say on the situation with FIFA, with you particularly from the US side, me more from the FIFA side of things. And, I think both of us got some stuff out on social media. People have reacted to it. Thank you so much for all the comments, the shares, and everything else. And then Gianni Infantino went and did probably the worst thing that you can do in this situation, which is completely compound it, which is to take the accusations of cowardice, of arrogance, of just not caring about this, and you told the world to chill and relax. Let's see that moment. That feels to me at this point like a man unchallenged. It's like Florentino Perez in Real Madrid. It's a little bit like his buddy Trump in the USA. He's gone out there and he's gone... at this point, I feel untouchable. And he's just, like, that whole approach, not even talking about for Omar Artan what a devastating human thing that is for him. And just to come out and say, chill, relax, it's all going to be fine. I know we're relying on this idea that when the football gets here, that will be the focus. We can stop looking at the politics and the tickets and everything else. But, I was angry at Infantino already. And then that press conference made my blood absolutely boil, Master.
To tell fans to relax and chill when, if anything, the unifying force that the global football world, but also just humans in general, felt for Omar as he was stripped and robbed of an opportunity of a lifetime. If anything, it's more people should speak out. Like, more people should be able to be frustrated and angry about this. And I mean, protesting and speaking out and using your free speech is fundamental in the United States. It's literally the essence of the United States. It's the First Amendment. So to tell people to chill out and relax, and thinking that speaking out and sharing your voice and your frustration, your expression on this matter is a bad thing, I think it completely goes against everything America stands for. So I think Infantino just absolutely dropped the ball there, as he has quite a bit. And it's a reflection of his inability to stand up to President Trump or other nations as well. When I thought FIFA was one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful entity in the world, and all of a sudden now you want to hide behind governmental policies, when we've seen in other World Cups, especially in 2010 in South Africa, how you made South Africa bend over backwards to make sure that that everything went exactly how FIFA wanted it to. Now all of a sudden it's North American, it's Donald Trump, and you want to take a back seat with it. I don't agree with that approach at all. I think it was insincere and disingenuous, and it it lacked the human empathy that literally all we're looking for. We're just looking for some human empathy in this whole situation. FIFA just can't even do that. They can't even do that.
Just be a person and not a snake. Because honestly, Dan Rohn asked him immediately afterwards about whether he was embarrassed about what had come to pass. And he came out with this like pre-prepared PR'd answer. Like he was expecting it to come from the BBC. And he said, well, you're from the BBC, aren't you? So, it's looking like you're going to get the Women's World Cup in 2035. How would you like it if FIFA started telling you what to do with your borders? And yet, at risk of repeating myself from what I said yesterday, Korea, Brazil, Germany, South Africa. I mean, literally the last two World Cups have been held in police states in Russia and Qatar. And Russia introduced the fan ID, which meant that fans could get into the country if they had a ticket or an accreditation without needing a visa, without needing a waiver. And I even saw a Rangers fan saying that fan ID still applied 6 months later when he returned to see Rangers face Spartak Moscow. Like, they recognise the importance of the World Cup to the nation, the importance of the World Cup to the world, and they said, all are welcome here. This is a celebration of the globe. And listen, I'm not here to America bash by any stretch of the imagination. It's a country that I love, and we're broadcasting specifically to American fans. That's the idea of this show. But you do get the impression that there is an element of it of like, does America as what it is fundamentally at the kind of the government level, the roots level, does it respect the World Cup as much? Does it give it the same kind of level of love it deserves? Like we know the football fans do, we know the soccer fans do, but do they realise just how important this is to the rest of the world that this goes smoothly?
They do. It's just the unfortunate reality of the last 18 months. Nothing has gone smoothly in this country. And even to the fact where you're looking at the Knicks games in Game 3 and 4, where you saw the joy of Knicks fans crowding around MSG, having the watch parties, flooding the streets after the Knicks won both of those first two games. And in Game 3 and 4, Donald Trump comes and literally they put a Hell in the Cell cage around MSG to avoid people entering and exiting because of security fears. They shut down watch parties around the area to the point where people had to get creative all across the city. It has been one thing after another of not only just a disturbance, but a literal disruption of what was expected of certain events and activities in this country over the last 18 months. And the World Cup, unfortunately, is another event that is being disrupted as a result of this administration. But if there's one thing I know about Americans, and you've seen it also on social media with some of the European fans and fans that have come over across the world that have been able to experience an Argentina friendly at Auburn and going through Kansas City and going to Indiana and trying out Mexican food in Mexico, is that I'm hoping that the American spirit still comes through and still shines through despite and in spite of this administration. And we've seen bits and pieces of that so far on social media, and I think that hopefully that will continue and we'll be able to shine brighter than the disruptions and the unfortunate mishaps that this administration has caused.
We've talked a lot about football administration and basketball so far in this show. Slightly bizarre things to be doing on the first day of the World Cup. Coming up, we will talk about the action in Mexico City tonight. We will talk about the action in Guadalajara tonight, as well as Mexico hosts the opening two games of the World Cup from Group A. Just a mention for last night before, we'll have Angelina on later, but England 3-0 winners over Costa Rica. I'm here in my England shirt. It feels silly to not mention it and discuss it. Thomas Tuchel spoke with talkSPORT after the game. Here's what he had to say after the victory.
Very good match today. Very good energy and intensity on highest level, on highest level, and on the ball, off the ball. Very good team performance from everyone, from the guys who started. Was exactly what we wished for, and was the next step that we wanted. And congratulations to everyone. Well done.
So, listen, I thought it was England's most comfortable performance for some time. I know friendlies with Thomas Tuchel generally aren't. There's something he likes to play with, he likes to test with. I think it was close to what we're going to see for a starting lineup next week. Still questions, I think, at centre-back, still questions over those wing positions. I hope and suspect that Saka does start. Health is still a kind of question mark. How ready is he to go for this tournament? I think he will have to be rotated out to an extent as well. From my perspective, I thought the real highlights of this game I thought Elliot Anderson was fantastic and has really shored himself up as that second option alongside Declan Rice. For me, we've been talking a little bit about Jude Bellingham versus, could he play as an 8 and you still play Morgan Rogers? Could you play him as a 10? And look, you absolutely went to bat for Bellingham the other day. I thought he was the man pulling all the strings last night. He not only set up one of the goals, but he was just constantly finding the right pass, dropping deep at the right moments to pick things up, crashing the box when he needed to. I just thought he was fantastic. And when we've talked so much this week about the man management of him by Tuchel, how he feels in this England squad, what his role is as a leader at just 22 years old, playing in his 4th tournament already for England. And for everything about that last night, if anyone is trying to question whether Jude Bellingham is a class act and should start above Morgan Rogers, I think last night answered it as emphatically as humanly possible.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway from this match, or this friendly, is that midfield is set. It's going to be Jude Bellingham, it's going to be Declan Rice, and it's going to be Elliot Anderson. And those three work so well together, and being able to interchangeably, whether it's Declan coming up, pulling forward, and Jude, there's some interchangeable aspects that they both can provide. And then you've got Elliot Anderson, who is just absolutely rock solid. And this was a great test, too, a great friendly, because Costa Rica, low block, didn't have possession much. They're going to be very difficult to break down. Those first 45 minutes, first 60 minutes, truly, I think were the most important part of this friendly, to see how they were going to find different ways to stretch them, but also try to break them down in that low block. And I think you saw that a lot from Anthony Gordon, who was fantastic off the left. Jude, Harry Kane working really well together. Declan Rice obviously scoring the goal. And again, I know a lot of people are going to knock Noni Madueke, but I thought he was doing what he came for this English side to do. He was very direct. He took some chances.
I don't get it.
He had
the goal.
Obviously, he had the goal that he missed. What don't you get? Like you guys were knocking him the entire time, as he was like one of the few people that was trying to break down a low block, which is exactly what he was brought in to do. He's one of the best statistically of breaking down low blocks. That's it. That is going to be his role.
People are going to focus on the miss, and it's unfortunate. And actually, between Ivan Toney, him and Morgan Rogers, they've all missed absolute sitters in the last week or so, which should cause some England fans a little bit of cause for concern. You mentioned Anthony Gordon off that left-hand side, right? Flex and I got into this yesterday on the show. I like the fact that Gordon offers something different to Rashford, and I like that it is an option where we can rotate in. I still start Rashford in this team, but Gordon, the fact that he got to the byline, the fact that he brought balls in, the fact that he did all of that, he did it in a way that was everything you said. It was directness, it was great against the low block, and it actually provided chances. What I saw from Noni Madueke is very good passing stats, because he was getting the ball, picking it up, laying it off to Elliot Anderson, laying it back to Reece James. That's all fine. That's part of the way that Thomas Tuchel plays his system. I think when he is with the foot on the ball and running at players, I want him to be lightning. I want him to be exciting. I want there to be, for England, for him, to have all the success in the world. And I just see him look like a headless chicken. He just puts a foot on the ball, does a little step over, goes to run, and then the ball goes out of play for a goal kick. That happened twice. Another time, player comes across to cover, and instead of making a decision cutting inside, he just ran straight into the player, loses the ball again. It happened 4 straight times before we even got to the first drinks break. And he looks, maybe he's trying too much. Maybe he does need to put a foot on the ball and lower his temperature. But he's basically playing against the international version of League 2 opposition and wasn't able to take them apart in the way the rest of the team was. That we've got to take a break, but we can continue this afterwards if you wish. This is the S word, sponsored by Kalshi. Trade What's Next.
From the touchline to the terraces,
talkSPORT presents
the S word. kickoff to the full-time whistle.
Don't say the S word. Say the F word. Football.
The S word.
From talkSPORT.
Let's go.
Let's get the Mexican. The tiny. I kind of feel like I'm mocking Mexico when I wear the tiny sombrero on my massive head. But there we go. You're watching the S word from
It's not Mexican music, Will.
Oh, it's really not. But you know, I just heard a beat and got excited about it. Look, Ben Jacobs is going to be joining us momentarily to join us to talk all sorts with him. But this is the S word sponsored by Calci Trade. What's next? So before we've got Ben on, I was being badgered in the other room for having to take a break before we, went totally off air. So allow me to finish my point and what I was saying. I desperately want Madueke to have success. I desperately want him to be good.
Do you? Do the English people really want him to be successful? I don't believe you.
The lack of end product. The lack of end product last night was truly embarrassing and has been consistently for Arsenal as well. We have backed ourselves into a position where with Bukayo Saka's health as well, I think it is our weakest position on the field right now. If Madueke has to play in place of Saka, I think it's the biggest drop-off we've got anywhere on the field, and I am worried about Saka's health. And I've really trusted Thomas Tuchel. I've liked the way he's built the squad. I suddenly find myself crying out for Jared Bowen or just somebody who's going to give me something different.
When does Jared Bowen face low blocks? If anything, West Ham is in a low block more often than not.
But he did nothing to break the low block. He, in theory, did what he was meant to be doing, but there was no end product to it. Not once in the whole game did he do something which actually created a chance. And the one time he made a great run through when Bellingham fed him that brilliant ball.
He made a great run too. He made a great move getting around the goalkeeper.
Great run.
But all of that never gets accounted for.
One great run, and he missed. He missed an open goal.
Coming out the second half, he took a defender on, got on his left foot, took a great shot that just went wide of the net. He had another shot as well.
Oh, it was on target, was it? No, again, and in that situation again,
it's a friendly.
So he cut inside.
These are the chances that you want to see from him.
He cut inside and he ran across the 18-yard box, and Reece James made an overlapping run, and he could have fed him, and there would have been a much better opportunity. And he took a snatch shot that went wide. Like that, to me, is not end product. That to me is not something to be excited about.
Look, at the end of the day, yes, he can be frustrating, he can be annoying, but he's a chaos agent. And England, at certain times, is going to need that when they're trying to break down a very feisty, low-block side in the World Cup. Heck, it could be in the first match, if we're being honest, against Croatia. This Croatian team is going to be a very difficult one to break down, and you're going to need players that have continuously faced low blocks, that statistically have shown that they will take on low blocks and can create chances, can create shots off of low blocks. Is it going to end up in the back of the net? No, I can't promise you that, but being able to create those chances give you a better shot at finding the back of the net. So, again, I'm not saying he's over here going to be Ronaldinho in this World Cup, but England, get behind Noni. You can argue all you want to about this roster. No Phil Foden, no Cole Palmer, no Jared Bowen. But at the end of the day, this is the roster you have. Back your players. Support them. Encourage them. The criticism's not going to do anything to help his confidence. So get behind him. There were some good moments he had. He should have scored that goal. There's no defense for that as well. There's no defense. He should have scored that goal. He would say that. Anyone would say that. But he can show that he can be very direct in low blocks at certain points.
I'd love him to prove me wrong. I'd love him to come out there and do something phenomenal and change a game, and for me to be shut up and for you to be able to laud it in my face. I will take it all day long. Please give that to me. I would love it. I absolutely adore it. But from what I've seen in his time in an Arsenal shirt this season, from what I've seen in his time in an England shirt so far, I just don't see it. And if it was I think maybe there's a world where we go, oh, right, we need a solution. Saka's not available. You play Rashford right and you play Gordon left, or you play them both cutting on the inside and something works there. Right now, Tuchel's been eschewing this idea that the team you finish with is as important as the team you start with. That the replacements, the finishers are as important. That's what he was talking about when he talked about bringing Ivan Toney in. I don't know. If Noni Madueke doesn't see a moment of football in this World Cup, but is just a good tourist and great in training and everything else, that's fine. I'd be all right with that. I think we'd be fine.
I promise you there's going to be a certain moment that Noni Madueke comes through for England, and everyone will be singing his praises.
I keep my
Support the
fingers
guy,
crossed.
encourage the guy. At this point, until then, every single touch he has is under a microscope. No one else is going to talk about anybody else's touches in the same extent as if he's Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi, as they do with Noni Madueke right now for this English side, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But nevertheless.
Love you, brother. Right, you are watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi, the world's largest prediction market. With the World Cup kicking off, it's time to put your football IQ to the test. Kalshi lets you trade on real-world outcomes using simple yes or no contracts. From group stage shockers to who scores next, you can trade the action live. Will co-host Mexico get off to a winning start against South Africa tonight? Is a draw the best bet between Czechia and South Korea? Stop just watching the pitch. Capitalise on it, Kalshi. Trade what's next. I'm delighted to say that our Kalshi World Cup preview guest for today, our first guest of the World Cup opening day show, and he's one of our favourites. And much like Master, he has got up at 5 god-awful in the morning to come and join us. Ben Jacobs is on the show. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. It's a beautiful thing, Ben. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Listen, how has your week been out in LA? How have you found it so far? Have you been having the best time?
Yeah, the week has been amazing so far. The US men's national team are in Irvine, California. The buzz is building. It definitely now feels like a home World Cup. We did a red carpet event, although it was actually blue only a couple of days ago. I met Will Ferrell, Rob Ory, the ex-Lakers player, Mia Hamm, two-time World Cup winner with the US women's national team. And now we're going to be making the 90-minute drive or so from West Hollywood to Irvine, California in Orange County, where the US men's national team are doing their so-called match day -1. To the layman fan, that just means it's the day before the game. And the expectation is that we'll be speaking to both Tyler Adams and Christian Pulisic. And then on Friday, it's SoFi Stadium. The game is live on talkSPORT, remember, for US men's national team against Paraguay.
You hear that, Will? You hear the atmosphere is building up in LA.
Wonderful.
All that nonsense people are
it.
talking about that the US is not prepared for this and not engaged with this. That you can feel the energy in Los Angeles. Ben, I'm curious from your vantage point. Well, should we start with in terms of what you've experienced so far in training? What are the vibes like? Tell me some optimism. Give me some American optimism so I can believe in this U.S. men's national team.
Well, I think the belief comes from the warm-up games. They held their own against Germany, even though there were a few defensive frailties. Definitely need to find a way of taking their chances. And then if you think about the victory over the Ghana team, that was very important because naturally the US men's national team were getting outfought and beaten by lots of different teams, and in doing so it was, I think, doubt in the mind of several fans because this US men's national team were just looking like they were up against tough opposition and getting outclassed. And the golfing talent was leading the fans to think this World Cup could be quite underwhelming. Now we're in a situation where Christian Pulisic has got a goal and assist in the build-up to the World Cup. They scored against Germany. They didn't against Portugal. No cricket score or baseball score, whatever you want to call it, was racked up against any significant opponent like it was against Belgium in the month of March when they lost by 5-2. And then flash forwards to the Camp Nou and Chris Richards is fit. Looks like Matt Freese is going to be the number one. It's important that Maurizio Pochettino clarifies that situation. He's not done so publicly, by the way. Maybe that will change today, but privately my expectation is that Matt Freese will be the number one. And Tyler Adams is fit, and that's so important too. And who his midfield partner is going to be is still up for debate. If it's Weston McKennie, you get less goal contributions out of him. If McKennie pushes further forwards, it means that Tillman might have to drop deep. If Berhalter comes in, then Tillman is likely out of the side altogether. So that's probably the biggest unknown. Where's this engine going to come from in the centre of midfield for the US men's national team? But ultimately, there's continuity, there's chemistry. The players feel calm. To me, they're ignoring the noise. They're not getting sucked into the headlines at this stage. They're just quietly and privately going about their business in Orange County. And if they can win against Paraguay, because this expanded World Cup sends some best placed third finishers through, then suddenly you're in a situation where you've got 3 points in the bag and you can build to try and win this group. And that's why the first game is so important. And you know something, guys, at most World Cups we talk about the first World Cup being don't lose, and those games can be cagey. But at this World Cup, certainly for the US men's national team, it almost becomes a bit must win, because as I say, if they get that victory in the bag, they can go to Seattle. If they get a positive result against Australia, they're in the box seat to win the group, and then that final game against Turkey obviously becomes so important as well.
Listen, there's been so much news over this side of the pond as well, and as much as you are 8 hours behind, I've seen you in the breaking news group. I've seen you still across everything that is going on. You are a man with his finger on the pulse constantly. So we saw Elliot Anderson impress last night for England. Do we think a deal gets done for him to move on before the World Cup? And if so, is it now City?
It's looking like City for sure, because Manchester United don't want to get sucked into a bidding war. The price is too high for them as it stands. And Manchester City have made a bid, their latest one being £106 million, 50 million in add-ons, so 121 million in total if those add-ons were paid. Nottingham Forest want more, but the expectation is that a deal will get done. Whether that's before the World Cup remains to be seen. If that is to be the case, you would think we're going to get progress in the next 24, 48 hours. But the reason why I don't think Manchester City are in a massive rush is actually twofold. The first is if they just keep bidding 24 hours later and 24 hours later and so on, then Evangelos Marinakis, this early before the window's even formally opened, is going to just keep naming his price and going higher and higher and higher. So there has to be an element of discipline from Manchester City to still try and get this deal done on their terms. And then the second point is that Thomas Tuchel is absolutely fine if an agreement is made for a player to undergo a medical if needed on international duty. So it's not a case of the World Cup begins and then you get a scenario where you can't do a deal or a player doesn't want a transfer done. There could be dispensation for this one to be completed whilst the World Cup is underway, and that's why City are in no rush. And the only thing that might delay or stagnate if they can't move quickly to agree that fee with Nottingham Forest is Elliot Anderson himself. Does he want a headline after headline, press conference after press conference, question about this potential deal while the clubs continue to negotiate? And if he says, let's just get the World Cup out the way, because he's already indicated to City that they are the club of preference, that could potentially slow it down. But my expectation is timeline, still a question mark over it, but will it actually get done? And I think at the moment the direction of travel is yes.
While we're still trying to figure out what players are going to be on the move, there seems to be this managerial carousel that's going on. Some managers we thought would be making big jumps are taking time off personally. What is the latest with McKenna? What's the latest on Fulham? Where are we at in this coaching carousel right now?
Yeah, Kieran McKenna standing down as Fulham manager to take time with his family. There's no job lined up. It's not a way of circumventing the 8 million release clause that he had at Ipswich. It's a genuine desire, even though Ipswich got promoted, for McKenna to step away. And remember, managers like players, human beings as well, and sometimes they just need a break from a game that can be very overpowering and stressful. So Ipswich looking for a new manager. 2 candidates at the moment. There's obviously going to be more on the list because it's early stages, but Gary O'Neill of Strasbourg is somebody that Ipswich really appreciate, and that could be one to watch. And then in addition, you have Liam Rosenior, the ex-Chelsea manager, who was also at Strasbourg too. Other manager changes, we'll touch upon Wolves in a moment, which is a fascinating story. But as you say, Fulham are looking for a new boss because, as we revealed on talkSPORT, Marco Silva to Benfica because Jose Mourinho went to Real Madrid for a clause that cost Real Madrid 15 million euros. And that means that Fulham are looking for a new boss. Arbeloa, the Real Madrid manager up until this summer, is one candidate, but not the only one. Abel Ferreira, the Palmeiras boss, is another name that I can throw in there. Frank Lampard is in contention, although Coventry are optimistic that he will stay. And Hugo Oliveira is quite an interesting name that's been on the shortlist for quite some time because he was a coach under Marco Silva at Fulham. And then if you think about the timeline, because Fulham had wanted this to play out with McKenna, they're not back to square one in any way, shape or form, but they're having to revisit some candidates on a list that maybe weren't as prominent when they were still thinking that McKenna might be possible. And then in the last hour, Celtic confirmed Martin O'Neill is staying on as manager on a 1-year contract with a 1-year option. And Rob Edwards has been sacked by Wolves, which has come as a big surprise, I think, to Wolves fans. And I'm told Edwards himself And only a day ago, he was quoted as glowingly speaking about Raul Jimenez returning to the club. He played a big part in Kieran Trippier joining Wolves as well. And those two signings felt very positive and put Wolves in a strong position, on paper at least, to build in this off-season and get back to the Premier League at the first time of asking. And yet Edwards has gone, and Cesar Pixoto is the man who will replace him. That agreement is already in place, and I'm expecting official confirmation soon. So there's many managers moving as players so far in this very busy summer.
Ben, brilliant stuff from you. Thank you so much for joining us, especially at that ungodly hour. Now get off to Irvine. Enjoy US
Enjoy that LA
camp.
traffic.
El Traffico, as they call LAFC against LA Galaxy. Cheers, guys.
Brilliant.
El Trafico, baby.
That was our World Cup preview and transfer roundup in the end with Kalshi, the world's largest prediction market. Trade what's next. It's funny that Arbeloa could end up now at Fulham. You called it a carousel, Master. Literally, it's an NBA-style 3-team trade, it looks like it's going to be, of Mourinho moving, of Silva going, of Arbeloa going, like just...
Your boy, Liam Senior. He could be back in the mix. Come
being
on.
left out in the cold. Being left out in the cold. Unbelievable.
The Liam Senior Redemption Tour.
LinkedIn Liam, as we know him around these parts. Look, we've got so much more to talk about on the show. Angelina Kelly's going to be joining us. But up next, Portugal. Just how much of a chance do they have of winning this World Cup? And does Cristiano Ronaldo maybe, just hinder them a little bit?
The S Word with Will Gavin and Master Tesfacion
from talkSPORT.
presents
The S Word.
Get your full-on football fix from across the football galaxy.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
Keeps cutting to just me in the studio on my own. I'm not sure I like it, but I still have tiny maracas, so... I'm all Gavin. Master Tesfazian is live in Los Angeles for us, where he's there for the opening game for the USMNT for the World Cup. Of course, the World Cup gets underway tonight, Master, in Mexico, and in Guadalajara as well as Mexico City. Two brilliant games. We'll get to those a bit in the second hour of the show. You are watching the S Word with Kalshi Trade What's Next. Listen. We are everywhere right now. SiriusXM FC, if you're listening on there, we're on for 2 hours. You can join us on YouTube as well. We're on Tubi now as well. We are on YouTube. We are on TuneIn Radio, and we've got exclusive World Cup stuff there as well. Like, there is so many places you can get this show, so many places you can interact, plus as a podcast on Apple, on Spotify, and that will be a video podcast as well. You'll be able to get the Tubi episode on there. So there's so many great ways you can get this show, and we'd love to see you all over the place. So please join us across the spectrum. Master, we've touched on a little bit with this World Cup preview. A team that you backed from very early in the conversation and now has become the sexy hipster pick over the past week or so. Portugal. Can they go all the way? Well, I'm delighted to say that Portuguese football expert and Portugal creator Tom Kundert joins the show now. Tom, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, thanks. Oh, wow, what a welcome. Thank you.
Tom, listen, how are the vibes in Portugal right now? What are their feelings towards this tournament? Do they believe in the same way that so many people that they are the outsiders to come and win this whole thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't really even say they consider themselves outsiders. So, yeah, very optimistic, which is quite unusual. The normal Portuguese mindset going into these tournaments is to be quite pessimistic, no matter how good a team they have. But yeah, you know, they've got a fantastic team this year. Most people are saying they think this is the strongest squad Portugal have ever sent to a World Cup. And, you know, when you look at the personnel, I'd say there's 5 absolutely world-class players in that team, and that's not including, Cristiano Ronaldo. But you look at PSG, who've just gone back-to-back, you know, the core of that team is Portuguese, isn't it? The Portuguese midfield. Vitinha and João Neves, and you throw Bruno Fernandes into the mix. Is that the best midfield at the World Cup? You know, I would argue possibly it is. So, yeah, very optimistic, although on the other side of the coin, we have to say we've been here before. You know, Portugal, quite often they go into these tournaments, you know, a lot of hype around them, a lot of big names, and then they end up flopping badly. We can go back all the way to 2002 World Cup when they had Figo, Rui Costa, that generation. Had a disastrous World Cup, didn't even get through the group stage. And so, yeah, let's wait and see. But I'll say on the whole, people are very optimistic here.
I'm optimistic. As you said, I feel like I'm always optimistic about Portugal, and they always let me down. 2022 against Morocco, not being able to break them down and losing that match in the knockouts. Time and time again, as you mentioned, it's the hope that kills you. I know English fans always say that, but I feel like Portuguese fans really epitomize that with all the amazing teams that they've had. Why does this one feel different? Why does this one feel like this could be the year Portugal lifts the World Cup trophy?
Yeah, I think they've got a good mix of players, and they've really got players who are used to winning. You know, Portugal have always had good players, but they've had 1 or 2, 3 players in big foreign teams. It's just the team's packed now with players like that. I mean, I was just having a look now. How many Champions League winners do you think are in this Portugal team? Now, you've got the 4 guys at PSG I just mentioned. Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, is winning 5 times. You've got the Manchester City guys, Bernardo Silva, Ruben Diaz. So, you know, these are players who have won, I think most people agree, the highest quality football competition in the world on multiple occasions. And so, you know, they won't be fazed by this. They're also at a good age, I think, a lot of these players. Obviously, Ronaldo, not the player he was, but you look at Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva, probably at the absolute peak of their careers. Then you've got Vitinha, you know, mid-20s. For many people's opinion, perhaps the best midfielder in the world at the moment. And then you've got a couple of young guns in João Neves and Nuno Mendes, just giving them all that energy. So yeah, it looks like it's a good mix. You know, it's possibly the kind of motto which Roberto Martinez has been using for this World Cup is, come on, let's do what's never been done before. To quote a famous Portuguese pop song, and you know, that's kind of caught on. So let's see if it happens.
Listen, the big question, of course. You've named all those wonderful players and they could go and win a World Cup with all of that. But everyone wants to know, is Cristiano Ronaldo going to start? And if he does, is that what's best for this Portugal team?
Yeah, this question comes around again and again. He will start, no doubt about it. I'm not sure it's as big an issue as people are making it out. Of course, it's quite obvious the most famous footballer in the world alongside Messi, the best footballer in the world over the last 2 decades. And he's such an iconic figure and divisive figure in a lot of ways. So it's always going to be all about Ronaldo when people talk about Portugal. But it's a bit of a moot point, though, because Roberto Martinez is absolutely staunchly behind him. He says that Ronaldo is in the team not because of what he's done in the past, not because of his incredible career. He's in the team because Portugal are a better team when he's in it. Okay, you can argue one way or the other.
Tom, let me come back on that, because I understand why people are questioning his role in the team at 41 years old. My biggest concern is I look back to the tournament 2 years ago at the Euros, and I look at the fact that Slovenia, 120 minutes, no goals. Yes, they got through on penalties, but he did not. He looked a shadow of the player, particularly in extra time. He wasn't the guy who was going to change the game. France, exactly the same thing. Goalless, wasn't taken off, went all the way through the penalty shootout, they lose that game. My concern is that he has such a relationship with Roberto Martinez, that he has such a control over this team, that he's such a legendary status, he is such a talisman, deserves all of that. But if it's not working, is Roberto Martinez going to haul him off at 70 minutes when they need something different?
Yeah, it's a fair question. It's a very good question, and it's a fair question, and it's a lot of question which the people here in Portugal themselves are asking. I think, hopefully, I think the answer is yes. It's the simple answer to that question is yes. And if we have a look back at the Nations League, for instance, so that was 1 year after the Euros, when Portugal won it last year, they beat Germany in the semis, and then they beat Spain in the final. Ronaldo started both those games. He scored both of those games. But interestingly, he was substituted before the end of the 90 minutes. I think about 80 minutes in the semi, and same time more or less in the final. And in the final, it was drawing, and it did go to extra time. So it was on the cards that there was going to be another 30 or 40 minutes of football, and Ronaldo was taken off. So yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a perfectly valid question, and I think that Ronaldo himself, he has kind of realised that he is human, and this season especially, he's had a few injuries. He's been, especially towards the end of the season, he's been missing a few games. He's been coming off early, and I think that it's highly likely that will happen in this World Cup. It won't be similar to the Euros, where you're absolutely right. It really made no sense that he played every minute of every game, even for example the third group game. When they were ready through, they'd won the first two, and it was that nothing game against Georgia, and he played the whole game, and he was the only one of the regular starters who did that, and so Martinez got a lot of criticism for that, and whether he actually takes heed of this criticism or not, or whether it's just 2 years down the line they think they're going to manage his minutes better. I think that. I think we are likely to see Ronaldo, his minutes used a bit more prudently this tournament.
I'm glad you mentioned Nations League, because I think that often gets overlooked in terms of what happened in that semifinal and final, and kind of the different way Cristiano Ronaldo is being used now compared to those past World Cups and Euros. Where
it's a tournament you famously love as well, Master. The Nations League is absolutely your favourite, right?
Portugal won it twice.
I hate when Sweden uses it to qualify for the World Cup, but it is still a good tournament to gauge when we get down to the knockout stage of where these different European nations are at. And I feel like I see a different Portuguese side, what I saw from Nations League, because it wasn't a full dependence on Cristiano Ronaldo, because of the emergence of Vitinha, because of the emergence of João Neves, Nuno Mendes. They just feel like a deeper side now, where if all you're using Cristiano Ronaldo for is to be a goal poacher in the box and also another target on set pieces, that's not a bad role for him to play now because of the other players they have on this team.
Yeah, I agree. If I just come in there as well, I'd say there's another important point which is related to that, which is in the past, Portugal have been accused, and I think probably rightly so, of being kind of in the players themselves being in awe of Ronaldo's, almost playing for Ronaldo. But now these players have reached such a status themselves Players like Fernandes, like Coutinho, Mendes, you just mentioned there, but a whole raft of players. If they have a chance of scoring and shooting, they're not going to be looking at seeing where Ronaldo is. They're going to go for goals themselves. They are. Ronaldo really, I think, can be a complement to this team and not the main focal point, which will be a difference to Portugal in compared to past tournaments.
Tom, excellent stuff from you. We really appreciate you taking the time out to join us.
Obrigado.
Obrigado, indeed.
And, obrigado.
We wait to see how Portugal get on in this tournament. Their opener is next Wednesday against DR Congo at the NRG Stadium, a place that I'm assuming you know particularly well, Master, as a Texan native. Don't know if you've ever mentioned that on the show before.
I hate that stadium.
What's your beef? I saw a phenomenal Super Bowl there, and I saw Lady Gaga, so I'm pretty happy.
It's Houston. It's not Dallas.
That's not a good reason to hate somewhere. Come on.
That is the only reason you need. That's the only reason you need.
Unbelievable. I said it to you all along with this Portugal team. I think they are right in the mix as one of the best teams in this tournament. I still think Roberto Martinez is the reason that they don't win it. I just don't trust him to make the right decision in the right moment. And you can cite the Nations League as much as you want. It doesn't.
England's never won it.
Oh, you're not wrong. We would definitely wouldn't win it if Roberto Martinez was our manager as well. So there we go. I'll take Tuchel over him all day long. In the next hour, we're going to be predicting...
Oh, now you love Tuchel.
In the next hour, I love Tuchel. I don't know what you're talking about. Just, maybe let's...
No matter what. No matter what.
We're going to preview the USMNT group. We're going to preview England's group and do our picks, our Master Dharma's picks for the groups. We're also going to look forward to tonight's games in Mexico City and Guadalajara as well. And up next, Angelina Kelly joins us in the studio ahead of her trip out to Dallas with the England fans. All still to come right here on the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi. Trade What's Next.
Bringing all the biggest football debates.
Stateside.
The S Word.
From talkSPORT.
featuring Will Gavin and Master Tess Fassian.
And a squad of big-name contributors.
The S Word
From talkSPORT.
I was not expecting this. The real England World Cup song. Oh, by the way, if people haven't seen the phenomenal Scotland unofficial World Cup song by JJ Paul, which is basically like an LCD sound system song about Scott McTominay and stuff, he's coming into the talkSPORT offices today to perform it live at our World Cup launch party. So keep an eye out across all our socials and everything, because we'll definitely post some clips from that as well. You are watching the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi. Trade what's next. I'm Will Gavin. Master Tess Fatsian is out in Los Angeles, and now alongside me, ahead of her trip out to Dallas and around the US, following the England fans, the brilliant Angelina Kelly. Angelina, how are you?
Oh, good. Oh, I like the applause. Oh,
Every time.
That.
Every time.
That,
You
like,
deserve
everywhere I go. Can you guys just like follow me around and applaud?
it. Yeah, I always thought like a tuba should follow me around, just going boom, 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 boom.
I'll take the applause.
I was going to see how long I went with that before you interrupted me.
Yeah.
Thank you for finally doing it.
I was going to let you keep going. That's fine. Just keep it going.
Angelina, firstly, you are headed out to Dallas.
Yes.
You are travelling around with the England fans. Master, Angelina revealed something to me the other day. Her return ticket from the World Cup is for Monday, the 20th of July. That is the faith that talkSPORT has, that as somebody following the England fans around, that we are going to go all the way. What do you make of that, sir?
Hey, it's coming home. I like England's chances. I like England's chances. I don't know if it's... the only thing that's stopping me, Angelina, is the possibility of a round of 16 match against Mexico at Stadium Azteca. I think that is going to be absolute hell for England. But if they can get over that, absolutely they can win.
How excited are you to get out there? Have you hit up Master for some tips on Dallas yet as the native? Find out some good barbecue spots, etc. Like, what's the vibe right now for you?
He's already told me that I can message him. He's going to let me know barbecue, basically anything that I need to know. I know that he's my guy and that he's going to make sure that we're all sorted out. I kind of feel like a lot of people have gone out already with talkSPORT, so I'm just kind of wandering around waiting for my flight, essentially. I'm just one of the last ones standing before I'm deployed.
Seeing them all on Instagram and they're going to like watch parties in New York for the Knicks game, and they're going to like, how dare they?
Yeah,
I've got to stay here for the whole tournament.
Yeah, no, to be fair, you've got to do that. So, but you'll be fine. You'll be all good. You'll be all good. We'll bring you back some souvenirs and stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah,
man.
well,
Yeah.
don't worry. I'll bring you back something American, something like candy.
America.
Yeah.
I really like what are the little like cinema ones that are like the chewy ones with the chocolate on the outside? You know what I'm talking about.
What?
Yellow box. Come on.
Butterfingers?
No, I'll remember in a minute. Don't worry about it. We've ruined this section already.
Yeah, we'll get it on the list. Yeah.
So, England, last
Yes.
night, Costa Rica, what did you make of the performance? Has it lifted your expectations or spirit at all for the tournament?
Well, I love to get roped into the whole it's coming home, and after one positive performance you're like, yeah, this squad, we're gonna have absolutely no problem. So obviously versus New Zealand it was improved. I like the fact that there were different goal scorers. I remember the last Euros, Harry Kane wasn't at it, he wasn't looking his best. There were other goal scorers, but I just think to see that even in a friendly, that we've got those other options. Also, Anthony Gordon in his penalty. I was loving that. Absolutely great. I'm liking the fact that we pretty much saw the starting 11, I would guess. I think that it would probably be Gay and Konza, Saka on the right, because I'm sorry, I'm not having Madueke over Saka. I'm absolutely not having it. It is a step down. Madueke is a step down, and that's okay.
Yeah, it is. It is.
That's okay to admit, though. Yeah.
It is. Why would I think Saka is less than Madueke? Like, that's.
Are you
like,
worried
obviously
injury-wise for Saka because of all
I am
this
a bit
talk?
worried. The Achilles situation, I am worried because he did come off and was substituted off in the Champions League final. We know he's been playing through this all year. That is my biggest concern for England is how healthy can you keep him and how often can you keep him off the field to manage him for
when Madueke is the only other option. When you could have had somebody like Jared Bowen, who, in my opinion, is a bit more proven in the.
It's like Angelina was listening to the first hour of the show. I'm just saying.
But what has Bowen done in lower blocks? like West Ham faces lower. They are the team that sets up low. They're not the team that has to consistently face low blocks week in and week out like Arsenal does. They face more low blocks than any other team in Europe. So, and
But
Noni
how
has
do we
shown
know if he's not faced them? How do we know what he can do? I just think when you think about the way that he's shown up for West Ham consistently, he's got a goal in him, he's got an assist in him.
There's end product.
Yeah.
Noni Madueke does not have end product.
No.
There's a lot of build-up and then...
And I don't like to jump on the bandwagon of hating on it, because it's not hate towards a player, but it's just about being honest that he's not the best option.
It's a lot of hate. I truly think it is, because every single touch he has gets touched on. It's become a microscope now that every single thing that he does gets criticized.
Because most of it's bad, that's why.
Glad you said bad. That's what the producer said in our ear a minute ago.
If he's not scoring a wonder goal, like there's going to be this criticism that exists for him every single time.
Right. So if he does that wonder goal, then all will be forgiven.
Like I told you earlier, Master. If we get to a knockout stage and Noni Madueke does something phenomenal, starting for England, becomes one of our starters, and does something. No problem with that whatsoever. I will happily have those Jalen Brunson hate edits that we've been seeing over recent days of like everyone in 2022 going, this deal is pathetic, it's ridiculous, this is going to set the Knicks back, all set against him scoring and having great games in the NBA Finals. If we do that with Noni Madueke and I end up looking like a mug, I'm fine because it's good for England. That's fine. Right now, I think it's the weakest spot on the team because of Saka's injuries. It's my biggest concern.
Yeah, I agree.
That's fair to say. But I think in terms of what Tuchel's trying to do and how he's trying to set up, I understood the logic of bringing in Noni Madueke because he can be that chaos agent that England needs, and I think he can create those chances. It's just a matter of, obviously, as you said, the final product that is the concern, but having someone that can create those chances, I think more often than not, that has proven that he can take on low blocks, that he can be direct as he showed. Yeah, he was very nervous at the start, the first 10 minutes, but again, I don't think he gets enough credit coming out of the second half. The great chance that he had 2 minutes in.
Nervous now. That's not good, is it? Nervous already.
But it's part of it. The nervousness, you saw that with the other players as well. That typically aren't in these positions. So whether it's the Dan Burns, even Morgan Rogers. I saw a lot of people giving praise to Morgan Rogers in the second half. Look, he's facing against a Costa Rican side coming in fresh legs that either have been exhausted after playing 60 minutes against England, or it's literally the backups in Costa Rica. There's nothing you can take away from that game, from the last 20, 30 minutes of that game, to give you more encouragement, because essentially you're facing a side that didn't qualify for the World Cup and is the second team of a Costa Rican side that, let's be honest, you're subbing in world-class players. So they did exactly what they were supposed to do. But Morgan Rogers is getting more credit for that, and he's not getting killed in the same way Noni is for the chance that he missed inside the box.
I killed him earlier, and I said already,
no, you didn't. You didn't kill him. You didn't kill him the same way you're killing Noni Madueke.
Yeah.
You didn't kill Ivan Toney the same way you're killing Noni Madueke. It's all about Noni Madueke, and you guys are so focused in on every single wrong thing that he does. But if other players make the same wrong mistakes, you guys Morgan Rogers played fine against this random Costa Rican backup that came in, the second string Costa Rican backup nation side.
As DeFermo says in the chat, your defence of any Arsenal player is commendable. I said earlier that I'm concerned about the Ivan Toney miss, that I am concerned about the Morgan Rogers miss. But the difference is the rest of the play around it was good, and then they had a terrible miss. Noni Madueke was terrible for the first 30 minutes of that game and had a terrible miss as well. That's a very different situation.
Your judgment for him was terrible to begin with, and he's working from that. So it's a completely different basis that you and every other England player are basing this off of.
And I said I like the fact that he's a more direct player.
Your basis is that he is literally terrible to start off with compared to what you think of Ivan Toney. Even though you haven't watched a single second of Ivan Toney in Saudi Arabia, your assessment of Ivan Toney is still based off what you saw from Ivan Toney 2 or 3 years ago, and you're willing to give him more of the benefit of the doubt. You're willing to give him more of the benefit of the doubt than what you're giving him.
The Saudi Arabian games on the talkSPORT YouTube channel, and
how many of those have you watched?
Company man have basically.
Have any of those?
I've had all of them on. At least in the background. Maybe not paid as full attention as I would do to an actual good game of football.
But the intent was there.
But yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have seen enough. It certainly concerns me that his penalty taking has gone off a cliff for some reason out in Saudi Arabia. But, I still prefer what he offers as an option. I sat here and I said I liked Madueke, that he's direct. I like that he fit Tuchel's style of football. I didn't hate it when he picked him initially. And then I remembered what it's like to watch him play football. That's the
this
difference.
revisionist history that you're trying to balance it out as if like you're being
you spent 250 million euros as Arsenal this summer, right? And Noni Madueke ended up being the worst player you've signed when you've also signed Victor Gyökeres in that. Like, he's not been good for Arsenal. He's not been good for England. He does not deserve to be in this squad. And I hope that he turns that around. I hope he changes it, improves me. Wrong. He's still a young player. He can still have a great career. But so far, I've never seen it for Chelsea. I've never seen it for Arsenal. I'm yet to see it for England.
Thank you for being honest. That's how you feel about it. Again, and that's the basis of what you're starting off with your Noni Madueke assessment, and that's fine. I just, again, the quality that he has. I'm not saying he's Bukayo Saka.
Last night.
I'm not saying he's
done
Lionel
more in this
Messi.
game than Bellingham and Gordon. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I didn't say Gordon. I did not say Gordon. I did not.
I can't remember. You said Bellingham and somebody else.
In the first 30 minutes, he was the one that was being direct.
When he gave the ball
I saw
away
more action from him than Bellingham and Harry Kane.
30 minutes
If you want to be statistically correct, he wasn't dispossessed. If you want to be statistically correct, there was no dispossessed.
Yeah, he's not dispossessed because he jinks and then the ball goes out of play for a goal kick because he's lost control of it because he's a headless chicken with the ball at his feet.
You need chaos like that. You do. And otherwise, you're just passing the ball around and you're not able to break down love. I
literally pulled my headphones out in despair. So I don't know what you said. I'm sorry, Master. I apologise. What do you want us to bring in?
You weren't listening to me anyways. It's fine. Angelina.
I say one thing and I cause absolute mayhem. Apology.
No worries. It is. Again, I'm sound like a Noni apologist, which is crazy because if you had heard what I said about Arsenal with him playing there, it would have been the exact opposite. But nevertheless, you have to feel, at least coming off this Costa Rica game, and I think another underrated part about this performance is that the lightning delay that we saw. Yeah. And the delay of this match, which we could see in this World Cup as well, the fact that England was able to perform in the way they did in the first 45 minutes has to be encouraging if this situation presents itself again.
Yeah, I agree. And it is, listening to it and figuring out when the game was going to start, all of the updates that we were getting from talkSPORT. And I know with the Club World Cup last year, it was, similar situations that were happening. So the fact that they were able to adapt to that and that they were able to be okay. And overall, England were organised, they were pressing well, they seemed to have really good energy. I know that we've all been having a bit of a laugh at Declan Rice and his sunburn, but it does seem like minus him, everyone is acclimatising pretty much, which is important. I enjoyed Elliot Anderson. I'm a little bit irritated, obviously, as a Man United fan, that Manchester City are sticking the roar in and throwing in bids. I feel like it should be something after the World Cup. I don't like any chaos around the England players and moves and all that type of thing, but doesn't seem to be affecting him at the moment. I thought he was really good. And like I say, the majority of that 11 is the 11 that you imagine will be in place for the first game of the group stage.
Master?
Will, do you have any? Go ahead. I've been talking enough.
I'd like to. I don't want to talk about your trip in general. I just want to talk about how excited you are to go out to the US. We did World Cup memories yesterday, and I'd love to just. It's getting out to do the World Cup, getting to uncover it in the States, getting to go and have this, massive adventure. What the teams are excited to see, what you're excited to see in the States. Just get yourself hyped for the fact that talkSPORT is sending you out like a week later than everyone else.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
disservice to the brilliant Angelina Kelly.
Yeah. You know what? I tend to swoop in a little bit later to these tournaments. I did it with the women's Euros last year, and I was actually called an angel that swooped in. Just want to say, so I'll be doing that for this World Cup. But I think I'm excited. Most of these places I've never been to before, so I think it's just the food. I'm a big foodie. Everyone that's already there has been saying how lovely every single person is that they've come across, and even just like going into a bar, meeting people, having a bit of a chat, etc. I love to yap, so having new people to yap to, I'm always open to. But yeah, the whole thing in general, and speaking to some American fans of football, the real football, and just seeing what their thoughts are, what their hot takes are. We've seen a couple of things going out on social media of nobody knows who Ali McCoist is, which is a little bit sad. Try and see if anyone knows who, maybe Alan Brazil is, etc., etc. But yeah, just getting stuck into it a week later than everyone else. It'll be good.
Are you going to teach Ali some new English slang? I saw he's giving a shot at trying to understand with words like cooked and some other American lingo.
I want to do a bit of Cockney rhyming slang with Americans. I can't do it because my accent, I'm obviously from the north, so it doesn't quite land as well.
To Americans, they won't know that.
But I'm thinking a bit of Cockney rhyming slang. We're out there to teach the people and for the people to teach us some things as well.
Listen, You're going to enjoy the barbecue in Dallas.
Yeah.
And if you love to yap, there's very few places that are better for that than Dallas.
Have you met Master before?
I was going to say.
If he's indicative
you
of
are
the people.
flying that flag.
Yes, I'm waving that Texas banner. All you have to do is walk into a bar, walk into a pub, and the Texas, Dallas, Southern hospitality will just take over. And as soon as I hear your accent, I'm sorry, you will be stuck for a couple hours.
Yeah, that's what I aim to do. Then I won't have to do as much work because I'll just be chatting to everyone. Be great.
There you go. Yeah.
Right, still to come on the S Word this hour. We are going to make our predictions for the USMNT and England groups, and we'll look forward to the action tonight in Mexico, where we have two massive games to kick-start the World Cup. Group A will already have 2 games in the books by the time we're back tomorrow. So stick around on the S Word, sponsored by Kalshi. Angelina, are you sticking around? I don't actually know.
I can do. I'll do whatever you guys want.
I was going to applaud you off, but if Angelina's sticking around, she's sticking around, and you're going to get more of her next on the S Word.
Come on.
The daily deep dive into the world of football.
The S Word
From talkSPORT. talkSPORT presents
The S Word.
high energy exchanges, fiery fan reactions, and the biggest football debate.
The S Word.
From talkSPORT.
This time for Africa.
More World Cup songs, please. And more, I mean, almost all of them have Shakira in them, right? That's basically the rule. You're listening to and watching the S Word from talkSPORT, sponsored by Kalshi. Listen, I've got Angelina Kelly alongside me. We've got the great master, Tesfatsian, out in Los Angeles. And we've been doing our predictions and our conversations around the World Cup and building up to it with Master Damas. And I think it's time that we put ourselves on the line for what our respective nations are going to do in this group stage. How do you feel about that, Master?
I'll do my best to wave this red, white, and blue flag all across this beautiful nation.
I think we should start off with the USA. I think that's where we should go. I think we should all three of us make our predictions on it. Master obviously is the expert on such things. But let's kick things off with the game you're going to be at this weekend. Friday night, it's like 2 a.m. here in the UK, but Friday, 6 p.m. in SoFi, Los Angeles, where Paraguay will get their World Cup underway against one of the three host nations, the USMNT. What's going to happen in this game, Master?
I'm very nervous for this one because I think Paraguay is going to come in and try to punch the U.S. in the mouth. And I'm hoping the atmosphere, as we saw in MSG, can help lift the spirits of the boys, that they can get a result here. I'm going back and forth whether I want to pick 2-1 USA or 1-1 USA Paraguay. Let's you know what? I'm going to be a star-spangled bannered biased fan. Give me 2-1 USA.
All right.
Okay.
I think it's going to be better than that. I think I'm going to go 2-0 USA.
I was thinking 2-0. I was like, it was start things off positive.
Me and Angelina are going to collab on our predictions. Yes. We're going to come to
I love the American optimism.
Yeah,
I love that.
I think, like, I really truly believe what we've seen in those warm-up games. I think the nation will get behind it. That stadium will eventually be full with all the ticketing nonsense and everything else. We saw it in Chicago. We can take the mick of I believe that we will win and everything else, and we might be able to, the fans from outside the US might want to stick their thumb up at them and suggest that they're not proper football fans. I think they will show the world that they are proper football fans, they are proper soccer fans, and they're going to get the USMNT going, and it's going to be a great opening game. I genuinely, truly believe that. I'm not just saying it for you, Master.
You believe we will win?
I
believe that we will win. You believe that we will win.
I'm not going to try and clap and sing along because I know you're in LA, and with that delay, it's going to be ugly. Real ugly. But I believe that you will win. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
I hope you're right. I'm being more optimistic now than I ever have been before. But don't sleep on Paraguay. I think Paraguay is going to be a very, very tough opponent, and one that will bring a very strong physical presence in this match that I hope the U.S. can match.
Listen, the next up, you go up to Seattle, you face Australia. Seattle's a great city. The football fans there are incredible. It's also got a little bit more of a temperature like the UK, which I love greatly. Thank you, the Pacific Northwest. You've given me some wonderful times in drizzle, and I'm all right with that. I think this is going to be the biggest party of the first stage of the World Cup, US-wise. Mexico's going to be phenomenal. I'm sure Canada will show out. But having the US fans and the Australian fans on that coast where the Aussies can travel over more easily, I think it's going to be a wild time in Seattle. And whatever the result of the game is, everyone's going to have a big night.
I think so, too. And I think it's going to be a very contentious game between the fans because both of them felt very optimistic once the draw happened, that USA was very happy to draw Australia. And in turn, Australia was very happy to draw the USA. And it became this huge banter between these two nations as each one was trying to figure out who had the best advantage. So I think you'll see a lot of that playing on and the banter playing on in Seattle between these two nations. But ultimately, I feel very confident about the U.S. being able to win this one. This one, I could see, again, whether they're able to take advantage of their chances or not, I could see this one being 2-0.
Okay, 2-0.
I'm going to give Angelina the floor.
I get the thought process. And yeah, I guess if I'm going off the prediction of you'll have beat Paraguay 2-0, going into this one, fans will be up for it. I was leaning more towards a draw. In theory,
this is their easiest game in the group, right?
But I don't know. I just don't know if the wheels might go. You've got all excited after the first one. But yeah, I think I'll be kind. I think I'll go with a win. But I'm gonna go with a 1-0.
I think my problem is that I've gone too optimistic from moment one.
That was the issue.
Yeah, here. I was being super pragmatic about the USA. I was like, 4 points from the first two games. You're already basically through. I think you're pretty much already guaranteed to be through with 4 points at that point. Turkey is going to be your toughest challenge. You've got that in the last group stage game. That all felt like a positive to me. And then I went, and then you got me all excited, and I went and predicted you were going to beat Paraguay instead of it was going to be a draw. I just think the American nation needs it, and I think it's going to carry on. I think 6 points from the opening 2 games, baby. I think you're going to beat Australia as well. I believe that you will win.
You are more optimistic than I am. I mean, yeah, the first game is the one that scares me. I think they'll get 3 points against Australia. I can see again a draw against Paraguay, which leads me to the third match, which I think is probably the most consequential in terms of what happens in this group stage. USA versus Turkey at SoFi. Turkey and the USA had a friendly in the last year, and Turkish fans took that stadium over. And that is my concern here for this one as well. There is a lot of Turkish fans and Turkish people in the United States, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more that'll be coming over as well. I could see that atmosphere being completely run over by Turkish fans. I'll go 1-1 draw.
I think that's too optimistic.
Yeah.
I think Pochettino rotates. I think they beat you, and they beat you soundly.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a 2-0 loss at least. I think it was Turkey, Portugal at the Euros, and the atmosphere was insane. You literally couldn't even hear yourself think because of the noise from the fans. So I agree with you. I think that they're going to bring it. I think that it's going to be a difficult atmosphere to play in that sense. So yeah, I think this one it's going to be a loss.
But I mean, Turkey is going to be an open team. Like you can get on the counter with them, and they're not exactly a nation that will hold clean sheets. So in the fixture in which they faced against Turkey, I believe USA scored in the first 2 minutes before they eventually lost. So I think
so they'll still lose, but it might be just like 2-1 instead.
Yeah, I could see a 2-1 loss. Again, I could see a 1-1 draw. Again, I'm not dismissing Kenan Yildiz and Arda Güler, two of the best young talents that we'll see in this World Cup. But everything else around them, again, it's a lot of old guys that they have, a lot of veterans, again, a lot of experience as well on the stage. I could see a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
Okay.
7 points. Do you top the group? And then are you winning your first knockout game since 2002?
I think the U.S. will win this group, and I think the U.S. will win their first knockout game since 2002.
There you have it.
From that point on, I don't know. It's a crapshoot, but if they're able to do that, win the group and win a knockout game, I think at that point we're playing with house money as Americans.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Should we do the England group as well while we're here? I think we should get to a few more guests on to do this as well. And we haven't, I mean, I'd also quite like to do World Cup memories with these guys because we haven't really done it. I didn't give you any time to prepare this in any way, shape or form. We did top fives yesterday. No way you need to do that. But I want to get one each from each of you. But let's just quickly run through England. My feeling is draw against Croatia, win the next 2 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning to. I would like it to be a win all the games, but I just think against Croatia with the history as well, I do think I'm leaning towards draw. But the other 2 should be straight wins.
The thing is, it's an aging Croatia team.
Yeah.
It's an England team coming in with a lot of success. They looked nice and fresh in that game. This isn't a Croatia team who are going to be that team that we played in the semi-finals.
No.
This isn't going to be a Croatia team that beat us in the group stage. Like, it's not that team, and yet, I don't know. I just
it's
feel
just PTSD.
nervy. I feel, I think it's just English pessimism. But I'm like 7 points from the group, draw with Croatia, win the next 2. I'm kind of fine with that. What do you reckon, Master?
I can understand the Croatian pessimism or the English pessimism here against this Croatia match, but as I watch Croatia in some of these friendlies, the goals in which they score, I don't know where it's going to come from. Like they had a 40-year-old Luka Modric scoring outside the box, which of course he's capable of doing. But I can see England beating them. I can see a 1-0 England victory. I think defensively England has been tremendous leading up to World Cup qualifiers, and I think that continues in the group stage. So it's hard for me to see where Croatia is able to find a goal. And if they do, it will be one of those low XG, very difficult goals that will be conceded if it happens. But I think more so on the other side is how will England be able to break down Croatia, which will be compact. They will defend. They will keep their formation. They'll keep their shape. Who will be the person that will be able to help break them down to eventually get the ball in the back of the net? Because once they do that, I think then the pressure's off. So I could see a 1-0 England victory in Croatia, and I could see England winning all three matches in the group.
Arsenal fan picks 1-0 win. Set piece as well?
Why not? I mean, it could be a penalty as well. I mean, again, it's...
I'm surprised you're not going, Nonny Madueke, screamer from 30 yards, prove you all wrong.
Listen, if it happens, I'll be the first person in line buying a Noni Madueke England kit and wearing that all across the stadium and all across America throughout this tournament.
I want to get your World Cup memories, because we did this yesterday, myself and Flex, and this was very much not top World Cup moments. This was our 5 favourite memories from World Cups. Your formative years, when you first remember your first World Cup. Like, I had a couple from 98 just because it's so, for me, like, it's like 13, 14 years old. It's that moment where you're just so in love with football. I mean, I've always loved football, but like, you just, it's obsessive at school. It's all you talk about the whole time. And so I end up with a couple from that. But Master, I'll come to you first. Either first World Cup memory, or what's your like shining favourite moment from recent World Cup history?
That 98 World Cup was my first World Cup, and that one, it will always bring back so many smiles and memories from the kits to that Brazilian side that really just created my love for the sport and seeing how their interpretation of the sport, and then also the reminder that football can be very cruel, as it was in the final, and you're on board with Brazil. You finally bought in, and then Zinedine Zidane happens, and he just absolutely crushes your soul as a 7-year-old, and that's football for you, and playing an absolute masterclass defensive performance in France against Brazil in the World Cup final. I'll always remember that 98, 2002 Korea Japan. The time was really bad in the U.S., but I vividly remember me and my dad waking up every morning at like 2 a.m. Me waking him up before he goes to work, and us being able to catch a couple games before he went to work, and just enjoying my mornings watching all those incredible matches from that tournament. 2010 South Africa, obviously, as an African, seeing that happen on the continent. The USA Landon Donovan goal USA, that call will always be stuck in my head. And then the 2022 World Cup final. I mean, that one is an all-timer. If you want to talk about games, maybe comparing what the Knicks just did, even though they didn't win that game, France coming back in that match and then going to penalties, and seeing all these Americans tweeting in real time, watching this as it led into the NFL Sunday schedule. It was a brilliant moment, an amazing match that I'll never forget.
Love that. Angelina?
For me, and again, I'm not trying to make it about Man United, but I think it was the 06 Ronaldo Rooney spat. I remember that happening. The wink, the whole situation, how that shaped things when they came back, the reaction, especially in Manchester, in Salford, it was absolutely crazy. I remember England with the penalties. I remember going outside afterwards, like really heartbroken on my little rollerblades, like getting some fresh air, coming to terms with what had happened. It was tough times for 11-year-old Angelina. It was tough times for 11-year-old Angelina, I'll be honest. But yeah, that for me was probably the first one where I was fully immersed, and I had the chart, and I was a bit more aware of what was going on, and just sitting there watching every single game. And yeah, that heartbreak and those rollerblades, it was sad times.
The Heartbreak and the Rollerblades, that's the name of her debut album. Do you have a highlight? You must have a high moment, though, because I did this yesterday. I was like, my moments, and I included, England losing to Argentina.
I was going to say.
I had to include 2018, basically, as like I didn't want to specifically pick the Colombia penalty shootout or the Sweden game, but I was just like, it was just a renewed hope. I'd kind of given up on being an England fan. Like, over the course of, drawing group stage games and going out of the groups with teams ranked outside the top 100 in the world and all of this nonsense that we were managing to do under Hodgson, and I'd lost so much joy in it that I just couldn't blindly follow England anymore. I just wasn't enjoying it. And Gareth Southgate, for as much as I have my issues with him, as much as I think that he did so much brilliant stuff, not being bold enough is probably the reason that we don't have a second trophy in the cabinet at this point. He renewed my faith in being an England fan over those couple of games. Winning a penalty shootout, being so comfortable against Sweden. I was in East London. I was in the sun. I was in a warehouse, in this open-sided warehouse with a bunch of hipsters and having the best time ever. And yeah, that was kind of my positive one. So, yeah, you got a positive one for me, Angelina?
Not an England one. Probably just like
an England one.
I'd probably just say like the dominance of Spain, like when they won it, like that period, like there were so many ballers in that team. Yeah, sorry, I'm struggling to think of an England
so
one.
Brutal.
Yeah,
So
Croatia's incredible runs that they've had, finishing second and third. Morocco making it to the semifinal. Like it's. I feel like we've reached, at least in our generation, like we've had some, for the most part, some really memorable World Cups.
Yeah.
Korea's run in 2002.
That was amazing.
I would love one of the host nations to do something like that this year, to go quarterfinals, semi-finals. And I think, Mexico's probably the obvious one, is that if they get to stay and play at Azteca and in Guadalajara for their first two knockout stages, if they win their group, they're the one that you would think would go a bit further. But can you imagine the further? If the USMNT get to, say, a quarter-final, it would go absolutely buck wild. And you'd probably have to top your group to do that, which unfortunately means you wouldn't be playing on the 4th of July. Finish third in your group and you might be playing on the 4th of July, which just on its own, in Philadelphia at that, would be just... I feel like I'd need to go out for that game just to experience what that city would be like.
Maybe England, USA, 4th of July. Wouldn't be the first time
you'll have to eat some beans on toast.
No, I mean, hey, listen, if there's history that's been made on July 4th, then you do not want to happen exactly what happened 250 years ago. Let's just say that.
All right, mate. All right. Angelina, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Angelina Kelly. It is the opening day of the World Cup. We're having some joy. We're getting excited. So up next, we will talk about the opening games and we will get into it because... we are less than 6 hours away from the World Cup getting underway. Come on!
Around here, we only use the F word.
talkSPORT presents
The S word.
talkSPORT presents
The S word.
Listen again and subscribe.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the S Word. I'm Will Gavin. Master Tesfazian not alongside me, sadly, today, but he is out in Los Angeles, California, ahead of the opening US MNT game of this World Cup on Friday night against Paraguay. He's going to be there at SoFi Stadium. But there are two games to talk about tonight as the World Cup is finally here, Master. All of the talking, all of the prep, all of the previews. We are ready to get underway tonight. How excited are you to get the World Cup finally underway?
5 hours and 17 minutes away. It's been a long time coming for people here in North America. I'm happy it's finally here. I'm excited. I'm excited to see this Mexican crowd here in LA. I truly think you're going to see some crazy scenes in LA from the Mexican fans that are going to be taking work off and spending their lunch hours supporting the Mexican side all across Southern California, but also all across North America. And I think what better way to usher in this World Cup than with Mexico kicking it off against South Africa, as we saw in 2010.
Well, remind me, where are you watching it tonight? Because, I mean, there are so many Latin and Mexican fans in South California. Like, there's got to be some parties going on.
Oh, yeah. I'll be watching in South Central LA at BMO Stadium and around the Coliseum. It's a sold-out venue, I think, for BMO Stadium. Peso Pluma's going to be performing there. And then the Coliseum is where the FIFA Fan Fest, official FIFA Fan Fest, is going to be. So I've got a ton of friends that'll be coming out as well. They're going to do the watch party for South Africa, Mexico, but then also for South Korea, Czechia, because remember, there's a huge Korean population in Los Angeles as well. In Koreatown, there's going to be a huge watch party. I think there'll be a continuation of the watch party in BMO Stadium. All in all, it's just going to be one big fiesta. And as we love here on the S Word, we love Mas Fiesta, don't we?
Mas Fiesta, baby. I'm devastated. I'm not going to be there. But talkSPORT, we are throwing our own party. Upstairs right now, there's a mariachi band. There's some margaritas being mixed. We need to get out of here, get the edit done, get it all uploaded to Tubi, to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, all the brilliant place where you can access this show again. And then we need to go and enjoy our evening because the opening of the World Cup's going to be sensational. The World Cup does kick off.
Real quick,
go on, brother.
It's 6:45 here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
How early is too early for a margarita?
I would say 6:44. Thank you very much. Listen, the World Cup does kick off today. Co-host of the competition, Mexico, gets underway against South Africa tonight. It's live, as is every game, all 104 of them on the talkSPORT network. Here's talkSPORT's very own international football guru, Andy Brassell, to tell us everything we need to know about this Mexican team.
Chance for Mexico! They've taken the lead! Rafael Marquez is skipper!
Well, straight away, Mexico at the World Cup makes you sit up. Mexico at home in the World Cup makes you set up even more. There couldn't be anything more World Cup-y, really, could there?
Three clear of the back, surely an equaliser it is! It's Rafael Marquez who gets Mexico back on level terms.
This is a far from exceptional Mexico side. I think we have to admit that. What they do have is a captain who always steps up in Edson Alvarez. A couple of other faces that Premier League fans are familiar with, of course, Raúl Jiménez.
Volleys it across, Jiménez with a sensational equaliser.
Host nations are always lifted by the atmosphere that little bit more, and Mexico's fans will certainly do that for them.
And he's not wrong. The atmosphere is going to be a raucous, rolling, hostile sea of green at Estadio Azteca tonight. Just unbelievable that this is the same game that kicked off 2010, the first time in World Cup history that a host has played in the opening game, and then that's been repeated in a later World Cup. And I think that's really fun when you consider what it meant to South Africa to host that tournament, what it meant to that nation in general, and then for them to be returning and start again where they kicked off that first game. I think back to South Africa, I think back to seeing Nelson Mandela out on the pitch. I think back to seeing all of the wonderful moments that we saw. This is a huge way to kick off the World Cup.
It makes it feel larger than life. Once again, Mexico hosting the World Cup. A nation in a stadium, Estadio Azteca, that has so much history, so many memories within the World Cup. Will they produce another historic moment once again in that iconic stadium? And will this Mexican side be able to overcome the taste in their mouths from 2022? There's a huge expectation always amongst Mexican fans, none more so than this year. I think some of their spirits have been rekindled from what they saw in the Gold Cup and seeing Mexico winning the Gold Cup here in CONCACAF last summer. But also, I think, they've got a young teenager, and sometimes young teenage sensations are created and become legends in these kind of moments, in these stages. And with Gilberto Mora, 17 years old, Tijuana player, he's someone to watch. He's someone that could really take off in this World Cup and could make a huge move this summer if it all goes well for him and for Mexico during this tournament. He is dynamic. He's electric. He gives them that juice. He gives them that flavor. He gives the pride that the Mexicans are looking for, and something that obviously a young, talented player in his first World Cup, that naivete sometimes that you need to just not think too much about the stage, not think too much about the moment, just play ball like you did as a kid in the backyards or wherever you grew up at. And I think Mora will provide that for Mexico, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gives us a moment in this World Cup opener, truth be told. It's
fascinating. I talked about the history of this game, right? First stadium to ever host 3 World Cup openers, 1970, 86 and 2026. And I forgot this. Javier Aguirre was the manager back in 2010 when they faced South Africa. He's back for his 3rd stint with the team. I think we're hearing a huge amount, and Pablo Mauro, who's been on this show before, wrote a brilliant article about the current situation in Mexico. We've talked a huge amount about the US situation and visas and everything else, but there is currently a mega strike going on in Mexico City. All of the teachers are striking. It's shutting down areas of the city which are normally big tourist destinations. It's causing a huge conversation. And look, tomorrow we will look to reflect on that as part of the show. It's so huge for them to get off on the front foot. They play this proper, obviously, the way that football's played nowadays, it's 4-3-3. It's high press. It's get in your face. I just feel like if they can get underway with a resounding win over South Africa, it lifts the whole tournament from moment one. It lifts the whole tournament for Mexico from moment one, and it gives us that, yes, football is finally here moment.
Yeah, and they got to be feeling good for themselves because they're coming off a friendly in which they beat Serbia 5-1 and showing that they can be aggressive, they can attack. I think in terms of their lineup and fixtures, sometimes you see them playing with 2 10s. I think you could see a bit more of a mix-up than that stretches the imagination beyond the 4-3-3 with what Mexico does. But they're going to be a very compact side. They're going to be a very sound side. I don't expect them to provide too many chances for South Africa. Unfortunately for the South African side, again, they weren't impressive during AFCON. I expected more from them, and it's not necessarily a nation or a side that is really depicting a lot of optimism within South Africa. In fact, I don't think a lot of optimism across the continent of Africa in general, considering what's going on politically there as well with their own migrant issues. They're going on in South Africa as well. It's kind of put a strain in terms of their relationship with other people in the African diaspora, to the point where a lot of Africans are rooting for Mexico, so which is a position of which you don't often see in the World Cup among Africans. They usually pretty united and supportive of one another. But I think you'll see a lot of the banter and the jokes from a lot of Africans as they support Mexico on the side. But I truly think Mexico will get off on the right foot here. I think they'll take control of this game. They'll dominate possession. They'll create some good chances. I could easily see this being a 2-0 game. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 3-0, considering the momentum that's on Mexico's side, the emotions, the atmosphere in that environment. I think it could be too much for South Africa, and I think that this could be the statement victory that Mexican fans truly want to see from this side in order to fully back them and get behind them and let their optimism run wild in terms of what the possibilities are for Mexico in this tournament.
I can imagine Bafana coming out and it being stodgy early on, frustrating them. I talked a lot about low block football on this show already. Do they have a Noni Madueke who can break through that? But you feel like between the crowd, the press, the pressure that they're going to be put under, that they will capitulate eventually. And then we talked a little bit about this yesterday in Guadalajara, where the atmosphere is really building as well. Warren Barton's out there doing the game for Fox and joined the show yesterday. Mexico is so heavily favoured to win Group A that this game between South Korea and Czechia is huge potentially for where teams finish, getting out of the group, everything else, and it sets off for a very, very high stakes game for night one of the World Cup, which is all you could ask for.
Yeah, it absolutely is. If one of these teams, South Korea, or Czechia, are able to get 3 points in this group, then it puts them in pole position to potentially compete with Mexico to win this group. It'll be a very fascinating one. I think it'll be a pretty cagey affair, if I'm being honest. I don't think either team really wants to expose themselves too much, for the simple fact that, again, dropping all 3 points in this match can put them behind the 8 balls and find them competing for third place, truth be told, and trying to get in that third place spot. So I could see this one being a cagey 1-1 kind of draw situation for both sides, which would be good for both of them as they continue to move on and try to get 3 points against South Africa and seeing what they can get against Mexico. But I think in terms of stakes wise, that South Korea-Czechia game has a lot of consequences in terms of what that result can be to help shape out Group A. And, I don't think it's been talked about enough in terms of this potentially being Son's last World Cup as well for South Korea, and the amazement that we've seen from South Korea, as we talked about in 2002, and that amazing journey that they went on, and seeing this nation time and time again have some incredible moments throughout the World Cup, and Son being able to deliver one last journey filled with moments and opportunities, and fulfilling his and cementing his legacy, obviously, in Korea as the best player the country's ever seen.
I like the idea that Korea, with all their technical ability and slick style of football, I quite like them to win this game, but I can absolutely imagine, as you say, with all the stakes involved, with Czechia's good old Eastern Bloc roughhousing football, I think you're probably right. A draw is probably the sensible result, but I'm going to be the optimist and the football purists in a way, and hope that we get to see the team that play beautiful football actually win this game. A little bit like the Champions League final. I was waiting for a bite and I never got one.
Because we moved on. I have not mentioned the Champions League final. We are in World Cup. We are 5 hours and 5 minutes away from the World Cup. Why bring up the Champions League? I'll remind you of who the champions of England are come August. But right now, these 48 nations, the opportunity that's in front of them right now, and every single nation well deserving of being here. I mean, more or less, besides Sweden, but everyone deserving to be here, all the beautiful opportunities, all the beautiful fans, being able to experience North America. I'm truly excited, man. I think, again, 2-0 is my call for Mexico, South Africa. I don't think we're doing Mastradamus for this, but if we are, and if you're keeping notes, I got Mexico 2-0 against South Africa, and I got 1-1 South Korea, Czechia. I just looked up as well as you were talking. South Africa has not won a single friendly since the AFCON in January. They've had 4 friendlies, haven't won any of those friendlies.
If we're Mastradamusing this, I'll take 3-0 Mexico after that.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Will.
And I'll take it. I've said I want South Korea to win, so I'll take a South Korea victory. Let's go 2-1. Let's give it a little bit of balance. Quite a few people getting in touch on the messages just to round us off on the show today. Kuro's got in touch saying, why are we ignoring no Scotland, no party? We had Shaman and Ahern on yesterday, and me and Flex actually got involved in the no Scotland, no party vibes. Don't you worry, we will be checking in on the action with the Scottish fans out there. He also put
England, real quick too.
He put England with a bin emoji as well, which I'm less keen on. But I'm excited to see the Scottish fans in action.
I think Scotland's going to finish.
Who are the best?
I think
fans?
Scotland's going to finish. I think Scotland's going to finish last in their group.
Wow, there we go. So will be no Scotland, no party come the knockout stages. You're saying?
I mean, you can have a party if you want to, but you're going to be losing to Haiti to start off with, I think, and I don't see a win outside of that. So
Scott McTominay, John McGinn. That's a great midfield pairing.
Yeah, good luck with that heat and humidity.
I think you are judging.
I saw those Declan Rice pictures.
People.
Trust me, if that's how Declan Rice looks like after 5 minutes in the sun in the U.S., Scottish people have something waiting for them.
New England Wilderness also got in touch and said, there's also awesome barbecue in Boston. That's not my experience, but I love that, we are getting people from all over the United States.
Get you a hot lobster roll in Boston. That's what you're getting. You're getting a hot lobster roll. You're getting that warm butter and mayo on there. Yeah, you're spending $25, unfortunately, and that's what you were consuming when you're in Boston. Get you a hot lobster roll.
That is all from us today. The S Words, delighted to have you along with us for the show. We are on Tubi, we are on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, and most importantly, we are on YouTube, where you can get all of our daily content, short form and long form, as well as the full live stream of the show. You are and have been watching the S Word, sponsored by Cowshed Trade. What's next?
From Vamos to the full-time whistle,
talkSPORT presents
the S Word.